Good morning, everybody. We are so excited to have you join us today. You are in for an amazing treat. My friend and colleague, Marissa Nehlsen, is with us today. She is the founder of Financial Freedom Group and just an amazing speaker, does some amazing work on empowering women and empowering living, and just has some great things to share with us today. I cannot speak enough about her. Every time I hear her, she has so much to offer me. I learned so much from her, and I know you're in for a real treat today. So I know you didn't come here to hear me. I know you came here to hear Melissa. So I'm going to turn it over to Melissa, and thank you, Melissa, for joining us today.
Hey guys, thanks so much for allowing me to be here with you, with your tribe. I am really, really excited. There's so much to talk about, like the world around us and the things that are changing, and I want to help you with bulletproofing your business. I want to help you with forward thinking in that, with some forward focus. And I believe that if you're here and you're tuning in today, the world needs you rich. And the world needs you rich in 4 areas of your life: emotional, relational, spiritual, and financial. And of that emotional side, I always put health and mindset in the same place. You know, how you think and how you feel are connected. And so some people say, well, why isn't that 5? Well, if you're not thinking right, you're probably not going to take care of yourself either. So I put those into the 4 pillars, the 4 core areas of your life, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. Want to add value to you. So thanks for joining us. I'm stoked that you can be here with us today, and thanks for having me. As we kind of get into that, I don't know if Gail, if there's some specific areas that you want me to initially touch on. I know there is so much. We have enough to go into like 5 or 6 different shows here from the topics you gave me. And so I went, Gail, you're kidding me. How am I going to talk about all this in one shot? No way. So
Marissa, make sure, and I think I stumbled over my words before. It's Marissa. I think I said Melissa earlier. It's been a long morning already here in California. But Marissa, I really want you to talk just pointedly right off the beginning about money and mindset. I think we get so messed up about money and mindset and what we think about that. And from my personal of working in non-for-profit for 25 years, I think it's a good place to start.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with where I started then. There's 2 really important stories I share with people about money and mindset. And one of them is how I grew up. I grew up really, really poor in the trailer courts. My mom lived many years in an abusive marriage. There's 8 kids in my family. Middle of the night, she drags us out with the kids, and we move into a 2-bedroom trailer house in North Dakota. Yes, I did say North Dakota. And it's summertime at the time, but later on in the fall, it gets cold there. And I remember we had no money. We were broker than broke. We were like church poor, church mouse poor. You ever heard that statement, church mouse poor? We had nothing. And we had these old blankets, and we nailed them above the doors and windows. And as we did that, we had a kerosene heater, which there's a plan, because I'm still alive today. I'm still alive to speak to you, because we should all be dead from just the emissions from this kerosene lantern that we were, snuggled around to keep warm. And my mom, we had pulled out of out of the dumpster an old brown couch. And my mom was laying on this old brown couch, and we had the blankets over the doors and windows. And at that point there, I looked up at her and I realized, holy cow, I'm 14 years old and we are poor. We're not just a little bit poor, we're crazy poor. And we're like the poor people that they talk about on TV. And I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, we're those people that they talk about on TV. We're not just poor, we're ridiculous poor. We're crazy poor. And she said, yeah, we are. But you can be a victim or you can be victorious. So what are you going to do? You can be a victim or you can be victorious. And so at that point there, I said to my mom, well, what's next? And that was really a sticking point. She only said it to me one time, but it stuck in my head all of these years later. I still say it every time I go through a challenge, whether it's a money challenge, a personal challenge, a professional challenge. You can be a victim or you can be victorious. It's a money mindset process that began very, very early on. And then fast forward my life a bit, and I'm 17 and pregnant and looking for love in all the wrong places, right? Because you grow up poor in a trailer court, you start looking for love in all the wrong places. And I started doing, I have my baby. I finished high school in like 2 months. I got all of the information, all the books. I went to the alternative school. Now, the alternative school is the school that they send all the naughty kids to. You know, the drug addicts, the pregnant girls, the ones who've gotten in trouble, got kicked out of school, those folks. And I was not in that category. You know, I was a good girl. I had just made some bad choices. And so at that point there, I go through this process of really knowing I had to have a good why here. And my why was my pregnant belly. I need to finish out. I need to have a goal. I need to figure out what I'm doing and where do I go from here? And so that led me into how I turned $5 into financial freedom. And that story was really the start that I got in the financial services industry. My aunt was in the insurance business and she gave me a chance. And so as she gave me that chance, that's when I really started to learn about money and mindset. And I had heard a quote from Zig Ziglar that said, if you help enough people get what they want, and I'm paraphrasing here a bit, but if you help enough people get what they want, you can get what you want. And I realized I needed to start helping some people so that I could get what I want. And I didn't want to be poor and I didn't want to be broke. And I wanted to be victorious and I didn't want to live in this trailer court the rest of my life. And I didn't want to raise my baby there. I didn't want to raise her there. And so I looked down at this little baby and I was like, what do I do next? And I knew I needed to do something different to get something different. And so mindset for me starts with, you know, what are you telling yourself about who you are? What are you telling yourself about what you're allowed to get? And we play these tapes in our heads that, especially about wealth, that, and just play this out for me for a minute. If you've ever said or heard the words, they are filthy rich. Have you heard those terms before? They are filthy rich. That is a limiting belief system about money, and it will keep you broke. Broke people say stuff like they're filthy rich. And I'm very in your face on that, I know. But the reason I am is because I want us to recognize the pitfalls of the words that we say, the things that we speak out in our day about how we look at money, how we think about it. You know, today I co-create the world I want to create, right? I co-create the world I want to create. And that world is wealth in all 4 areas of my life. Emotional, in my relationships. So me personally, how do I feel about it? Relationally, how do I have that in my relationships? Am I wealthy with my family, with my children, with my primary love relationships today? Spiritual wealth for me, and I'm not trying to convert everybody, so take a deep breath. I'm a person of faith, but there's no conversion conversation here. It's just, for me, that's my thing. And then financial wealth. And financial wealth, living life rich for me, is about also having a strong sense of purpose for how I will use that which will flow through me. And so, you know, when they say things like it takes money to make money, really? Because I came from nothing. $5 is where I started. And where I started with that $5 was when my aunt said to me, I'm going to give you $5 per appointment to set appointments for me. And you can book as many as you want over a 3-day time when I come to work in this town. And I literally booked her out from 8 a.m. every morning. And I got $5 per appointment. I was sending her 12-hour days at $60. And then she looked at me and she said, hey, you're pretty good at this. I think you might have something. And isn't it interesting? And I want to speak to all of you who are maybe not 22 anymore. Okay. This is when, that's me, by the way. I know the dark hair and the box that I have now done myself this last month. You know, I've been around a little while. And after 27 years, mentorship matters. Who you listen to matters. Who you let speak into you matters. And who you speak into matters. So sometimes people will see something in you and they'll go, wow, you're really gifted in this area. This is something that you're very talented in. And so for all of us that are on the line that believe in next generation mentorship, I mentor several young women today, and I walk alongside them, and every month we're working on their life plan, their growth plan, their mindset plan, their money plan, their personal life, like all of that, and their professional life, like all of that. And that's what mentorship is. Sometimes someone will see something in you and they'll speak out your greatness, and you want to agree with that. And then when you walk alongside them, as you hear them with the limiting belief systems, that's the BS that I talk about. If you've heard me speak ever before, you've heard me talk about BS. And BS is the things that people that are broke, unhappy people use. These are the belief systems that they go back to, the tapes, the patterns that they've been playing out since they were many times children about what they believe about money. Like, will I still have my same friends? You know, because birds of a feather flock together. Well, I want to stay with my friend set. I don't want to go reach for something more. All my friends make about 50, 60, 80,000 or $100,000 a year. Well, I don't want to lose my friends. I don't want them to think I'm that rich, fill in your own blank, right? I don't want them to think I'm that person. I don't want them to think I've done something dirty to go get it, right? And so when you become successful in those places, again, I do believe actually birds of a feather flock together. I think that you are the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Listen to what they say. Think about what they're saying. Think about what you're thinking about when you're with them. What are you planning? What are you talking about? And I heard this quote that, you know, small minds talk about people. Average minds talk about events. But great minds, they talk about ideas. Great minds talk about strategies. Great minds talk about purpose and vision and goals and where we're going. Great minds are the ones that I want to be in proximity to. These are things, this is why I love what you guys are doing here, right? I love that you're lifting minds to a new level. And I think it's not by accident when you see the clouds above Gail's head today as it's flowing through. These are ideas. These are ideas that flow through your head all day long. And so when you recognize those ideas, it's important to stop and think, is this a limiting belief? Does it bring me closer to where I want to be? Or does it bring me farther away because it's holding me back from my greatness? It's holding me back from where I want to be and who I want to be and what I want to be and what I want to have. You know, why is important? Why is important? But it's not the only thing. It's what you do every day that is also a difference maker. Right? It's how you do it every day. You know, those are the things that I talk about in patterns in people. So, you know, I can stop there and take a breath if you have any questions so far or any comments, because I get rolling and I'm like 100 miles an hour with my face on fire. There is very little grass that grows under my feet, with the exception of sitting in front of a podcast or, you know, a live webinar or something like that. That's about the only time I sit still. Otherwise, we're moving, baby, because you know, I shared with the group before you got on what you slay in your 20s, 30s, and 40s. And this is a mentorship piece, by the way. This is mentorship for any of us that are looking at our next gen and saying, hey, we need to come alongside them. What you slay in your 20s, 30s, and 40s is what you will eat in your 50s, 60s, and 70s. So, you know, I haven't been bored since 1985. It just shocks me when people say I'm bored. And I think, how are you bored? What? So anyway, I'll stop there for a minute if you have any questions or any other areas that we want to maybe make some comments on.
If anybody has a question, you can put it in the chat or just chime in. I know Marissa, and she doesn't mind you chiming in. But Marissa, as people are thinking about that, I want to tell you, you have been an inspiration to me because When I grew up and in my family, one of the things I always say is, oh, can you imagine having that much money? And my response after meeting you is, yeah, actually I can. Yeah, and I plan on being there one day. And but
Yeah.
it's just that mindset, because if you can't imagine it, you can't obtain it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that. So I don't see any questions coming up right now. So go ahead and proceed, and
You
we'll answer
bet.
if they come up.
Well, so let's talk about that actually for a minute, Gail, because we create everything twice, don't we? And when I think about this for a second, the universe, God, whatever your beliefs, the nature, whatever you fill in your own blank, right? I use my words, you use yours. Again, no conversion conversation here. Just so God does not give us a chair. The chair I'm sitting on, God didn't give me a chair. I need a chair. I need a chair to sit on. But God gave me a tree. And then he gave me the mind to create what could come out of the tree, the lumber to build my home, the lumber to build the chair, the idea, the plans, the strategies, the thought processes of how do I build a chair coming out of this. And when you think about your life today, when those ideas go boop and they pop into your brain, maybe I could do this, write it down, put it out, play it out, because the idea came from somewhere, right? And if you tell me you can't do it, I will fight the law with the law of polarity here. I will fight with every breath in me to tell you you can. Because if you are so adamant that you cannot, I know that you can. Because there's a balance to that, right? There's a process to that of thinking about it came to you for a reason. It came to you for this purpose. Now, maybe the idea was for you. Maybe it was for someone else that you're with, that you're coaching or you're mentoring or you're speaking into. But at the end of the day, I really want you to pay attention to the patterns in your day, because those patterns of what you speak out, what you think about, what you do every single day are going to get you more of what you're thinking and speaking into. It's the mindset behind it. Now, there's some pitfalls in this, and I want to talk about how do you break some of those up, because there's patterns that you can break up, and these are the pitfalls. Pitfalls are your limiting belief systems, right? The things where you say, filthy rich, I can't imagine having that much money. Wow, I can't imagine having whatever that is. Now, for me, it's not really about the money. And I'll be very frank with you. It's not about the money. It's about what the money can do in the world. You know, for me, I'm very passionate about serving, and I'm very passionate about what the wealth that flows through me can do as a currency in the world. And I think about, a few years ago, I have a foundation in Costa Rica. It's called the Foundation Latin America. And we came together with a group of leaders, and we began to build sewing schools for women in Costa Rica. And we have a 2-year mentorship program where we walk alongside them. Now we're the financiers for this. We're writing some checks, right? But the grassroots are the people that are on the ground. This is our leaders of that organization, the Taquina there. That's not us, that's them. And they're leading the school, and they have a 2-year mentorship program. And we walk with those women and we say, let's learn the skill, but let's change the mind, because if you can change your mind, there's power in that, right? So they come from generational poverty, generational of not enough, it will never change, someday maybe, one day I will. They come from those terms. And it's not just in a third world nation. This is all over. Look around, pay attention to those 5 people you're listening to, because the anacondas of your life will suck the dreams out of you. The boa constrictors will they'll swivel around you like the snakes that they are. They'll swivel around you and squeeze it all out. I spent a little time in the Costa Rican jungle, so that whole boa constrictor thing is far less funny than you would imagine if you ever actually come face to face with a boa constrictor. They are not fun. But I learned good lessons in facing down a boa constrictor. I learned that I can let my fear control me, or I can spring into action and do something to save myself. So Save yourself from yourself many times because you spend, this is all stuff you already know. You already know it. But sometimes we need mentorship to remind us. And sometimes we need a posse and a tribe around us and a group that speaks life into us. And every week we have a reminder, oh, this is why I keep going. Yep, remind me of my why, remind me of my what I'm going to do, and remind me of the how I'm going to do it, which you're going to co-create, right? And so think it into like pitfalls. Some of the pitfalls are the patterns that we've gotten into. We do the same thing every day and then we expect different results. So I'm going to talk about just a couple of quick, easy, I like practical stuff, right? I like stuff that you can use every single day. What's a practical thing that you can do? So one of the practical things is if you go to the same places every week, and I speak to a large demographic of faith-based organizations, right? I never sit in the same place in church ever. Never. I don't sit in the same place because I get different perspective. I never eat at the same table in a restaurant ever. Ever. I always find a different table in that restaurant if it's someplace I really like. I literally, I'm single today, so I don't have a bed mate at this point, but if I had a partner, I would be switching up my side of the bed. Now I know that's highly uncomfortable, right? If you always get up on the right or the left side of the bed, do you always do the same things? Switch up something little in your pattern. Switch up something little. Maybe it's when you work out or when you do. So I love systems. Still keep the healthy habit. Still keep the healthy thing that you do. But create a breakup in the pattern. Do something different. Like, for example, are you a snoozer? A snoozer, you push snooze, you push snooze, you push snooze. And then a half hour later, you go, well, that's really what I needed to get up. But I snoozed it for like 3 times. I know I have 3 snoozes before I have to get up. No, is that just me? Does no one else push snooze here? Okay, shoot. Okay, well, I used to push snooze. Now I don't push snooze anymore. But what I do now is I look at that and I go, okay, now what do I do different? So I set my alarm just 15 minutes early or 30 minutes earlier than what I was planning on purpose, because now I've got 30 minutes for focus time. And in that focus time, I've got a strategy. How do I use that time differently to get me and build me a new habit for something I want? Because people will say to me, I just don't have time for all that, Marissa. Really? I'd like you to review your schedule this week. Did you turn on the news? Did you watch the 6 o'clock news? Did you watch the 5 o'clock news? Did you watch Netflix? Did you play a video game? I was visiting with a young person the other day and I said, well, how much time do you spend playing video games this week? Well, this is where I decompress. Great. Did that get you closer to your dreams or farther away? Is this a match or not a match? So I think about it like your closet. Every decision I make throughout the day is match or not a match. And think about this when you go to your closet and you pick out, or when you go to a shopping store or a mall, think about your favorite store that you go to. When you go match or not a match for your clothing, you just know, I like that color. You just know, I like that style. You just know, I like these types of shoes. I have 181 pairs of stilettos. Right? I love stilettos. I have them in multiple houses, in multiple places in the world, because I just like them. I really like them. Now, I don't have a whole lot of other little things that I do, but my stilettos are a big deal. And so it's a match for me. I love them. They're like, some people collect baseball cards. I collect stilettos. So you find that thing within your day. Does this match or match up with what you want? And so when you think about your mindset of tell me what you want, it's, anybody remember the Spice Girls? Spice Girls? They had the little song, now tell me what you want, what you really, really want. That song? Okay, I'm aging myself a little bit. But the Spice Girls had the song out there and I thought, man, it's brilliant. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. We tell our space, our universe, our relationships, ourselves, our God, our whatever you call your thing. We tell it all around us throughout the day what we want to be surrounded by. I'm looking at the beautiful roses behind Nancy's head today on this call. And I'm thinking about, she's told her space, I want to be surrounded by something beautiful. I want to be surrounded by something that brings me peace or brings me joy.
In this
And
country, did you see the flag?
oh, I missed that. Beautiful. Very cool. I love
That's
that.
awesome.
So cool. Those are the reminders, right? Those are the things that we have to put around. So I'm going to give you one quick strategy on that, and I call it my WIGs, the wildly important goals. So when you start looking at your mindset and your money, it's what are you working for daily? Now there's a book, I want to actually recommend this book. It's a really great book. It's called The 4 Disciplines of Execution. And so you want to grab this, you get it on wherever, but Barnes & Noble or Amazon. And the 4 Disciplines of Execution go through a section that talks about how people get and achieve goals. Companies, individuals, organizations, foundations, makes no difference. It's the same. They studied all different areas and said, how do people set and get their goals? And it says if you set 10 to 12 goals for yourself, you're going to achieve none of them in that area. None of them in that area. So if you set 10 to 12 goals for your business, you're not going to get any of them. You're going to flop from one thing to the next, and there's going to be chaos, and there's no structure to it, and there's no strategy behind it. And if you set, 5 to 6, you might get 1. But if you set 2 to 3 wildly important goals, the data behind this, because I like evidence. I like evidence of how did you get there? What were the specific strategies, but practical stuff that I can apply to my life. Because I like to talk about mindset, but I like to couple it with what do you do in that process, right? Because there's a lot of mindset people that talk about the kind of, the thought. I'm picking on them a little bit when I say this, but they only talk in theory, right? I'm really glad you have a great theory about this, but I want a strategy, baby. I want to get some stuff done, and I want to grow to the next level, and I want to take the next step. And so for me, the next step is telling myself, the world around me, what do I want? And then how do I get that is my wildly important goals. So I set out the wildly important goals. Very simple. You can take a little index card and you pick your focus areas of your life. So I want to be a great mom and a great grandma. I have 3 kids, 27, 24, and 20. And I've got two grandbabies, one born 8 weeks early, just a few weeks ago. So, of that, in my primary love relationships, I want to be awesome at that. So what does that take to be an awesome mom? Well, I travel a ton. I'm 100 miles an hour with my face on fire. I get stuck in projects. When I say stuck, I love it so much that I lose track of time, and I look down and it's, 2:00 in the afternoon, and I look back up and it's 10:00 at night, and I go, whoa, 8 hours just went by. I mean, I built something awesome, but what? So my relationships, and I'll be really real with you, my relationships can suffer. And just me being vulnerable here with you for a minute, for many, many years, I struggled with this. I struggled with it in my marriage, which I'm now divorced. I struggled with it in my relationships with my children. I struggled with it with how I took care of myself. I was 60 pounds overweight for a long, almost 70 at one point at my high. Overweight. I didn't take care of myself. I didn't take care of my environment. I didn't take care of my, children to the relationship level of being able to do that. And it's why I'm so passionate about speaking with people today, because if we can get you really, really focused on your wildly important goals, what is it that you really, really want? Play the Spice Girls in your head. Now tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Give me 2 to 3 in that area, 2 to 3 in that area. And each area for me is this. Wealth is one of them. My financial goals. What are the 2 to 3 things I'm going to do this year? And then I break it down into a quarter, and then I break it down into a daily activity. This is what I need to do every day to get to where I want to be. And one of my financial goals is giving. One of them is generosity, because the more that flows through me, I am a steward of stewards. And I want to help people not only make money, but capture the cash fire their worst business partner they ever had, which by the way is the IRS. If you've not been in business, if you're not a business owner on here, you may or may not know this, but the IRS is the worst business partner you'll ever have, and you don't get a choice. You have to have a business partner. It is the IRS. It's just what percentage of your business are they going to take? So I'm passionate about teaching you those strategies. I've got a webinar. I have a full webinar, the 25 tax tips and 25 tax tools that you must sit in front of your CPA and have the conversation. If you're self-employed business owner, if you're 1099, if you're running a company today, you better have that. I mean, and you can find that on my website. There's some downloads for that. So if you contact me afterwards, we can get that to you. But that 25 tips, it fits right in with your patterns and pitfalls, because it's money that seeps through your financial goals every day. Because have you heard this before? The more you make, the more you spend. It's a limiting belief. Or the more you make, the more you got to give away, to the IRS. The more the IRS takes. The more you make, the more the IRS takes. And here's what I would tell you. It's not how much you make that matters. It's what you do with what you make that matters, right? And so taking control of these money areas, practical ideas, are part of your mindset. You are aware of it today on one side, in the the mind part of this, and then you're in the practical side. So there's the natural and kind of the supernatural, which is your head. So anyway, going back into your wigs, you create the areas. So wealth, health. I have a health goal. I know what I want that to look like, from everything from diet to exercise, right? What are the things that I do to keep my body the temple I want it to be, right? Now, my temple has some cellulite. I'm not going to lie. I like a good cheeseburger. I don't know if you've been to Culver's. I love a Culver's burger. I know I shouldn't admit it, but those fries, when they dump on the cheese, when they dump on the bacon, I feel like crap for 3 days after I eat it. But man, when it's going down, it feels good. But this is what happens with our goals. We are short-sighted in them. And when we focus on just the day, we don't get the long-term results of what we want. If I ate cheeseburgers and fries every day, if I'm going to eat fat, greasy food, I'm going to be a fat, greasy dude. Yes? It's a health thing. It's a health thing. So moderation and a little bit over time makes good sense. So there's other goals as part of that. So health, relationships, how I'm in oneness with my spirituality. Today, what am I doing to co-create the world I want? What am I doing to seed good things into my head? So I have a daily do. And every single morning I get up and I have a process that I follow when I get to the shower. And I turn on these motivational YouTube videos. I turn on different people that I listen to, everything from Goalcast, which is Goalcast. Goalcast is awesome, to guys like, Stephen Furtick. He's got some good practical things that we use that help me address my mind. It helps me address my actions. It helps me address what do I want to do daily to get what I want, what's flowing through me, so that I can go back and turn out more sewing schools, so that I can go back and turn out more mentorship programs. And it doesn't happen overnight. So if you're looking for the quick fix, I am not your girl. If you're looking for the quick fix, this is not the pill you take where you automatically lose 100 pounds. It's just not reality, right? That's something that somebody's selling you. But what I think is that we spend thousands and thousands of dollars buying programs. I've got bookshelves full of them. I've done it myself, right? And I've bought all this digital data on how to do this and how to do that. And what I would say is, harvest the good. Take those pieces that fit for you, match or not a match. Does this fit my future, where I'm going, what I want, and what I want my life to be about? Is it a match or not a match? Okay, so I'm going to take another breath, because I just blew a ton of stuff at you, from wigs to patterns to habits. Questions so far?
I wanted to ask something, Marissa. Do you feel that one of the most important things that you can do every day is getting up, like you were saying, and putting that positive perspective, starting that's the first thing that you should do every day to put yourself on the right path? Is that mental diet of the right nutrition, so to speak, for how you're going to spend your day and what you're going to do and moving you forward towards your goals?
So I'm going to give you the simplest step, and it's a couple of quick, simple steps. The simplest things to change your life today. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Really simple, super simple. It is, now notice I said it's simple, but it is hard. What I'm about to give you is hard. Now, if you are a survivor, if you've been through some stuff, I lost my fiance to cancer a few years ago. And man, you know, if you've ever held someone you really, really loved in your arms as they take their last breath, it is a turning point. It is a transition point in your life. And so after James passed, and I got to spend, I just, it's such a blessing to me. And just one quick side note on that. I'm getting back to your question, I promise. But it is better to have loved, truly loved, really loved in your life. And sometimes that's a significant other relationship. Sometimes it's a primary love relationship, parents, children, best friends, people that you just go, man, I'm doing life with these people. I couldn't write my story and leave them out, right? My babies, I got 3 of them, my babies. I could not write my story and leave Lexi, Gabe, and Danielle out. I could not, because they're what I breathe for today. As well as some other things that I breathe for. But the first thing I would share with you is this. You have to, in advance, decide. So the number one thing I'm going to give you is you have to decide what kind of day you're going to have. And I have a line. You have to decide what kind of day you're going to have. You're going to get to decide what kind of day you're going to get. Are you with me? I don't want you to miss that. You're going to get to decide, because no one gets to decide what's in your head. You get to decide what's in your head. So you get to decide today what kind of day you're going to get. And that starts from the moment my eyes open in the morning. I decide the day, no matter what comes my way. No matter what comes my way, I decide the day. I'm going to have a good day, I'm going to have a great day, or I'm going to have a growth day. You with me? Good day, great day, or growth day. And so the first thing that I would share with you is, if you want to master your mindset, which is going to master all areas of your life, it's going to master your health, it's going to master your wealth, it's going to master your relationships, it's going to master your businesses. It literally is a life lived rich. For me, rich does not mean money. It can mean money, but it is not the defining role for that for me. I meet a lot of wealthy people, like $100 million clients that I've had over the years, that are miserable. Their kids hate them. Their clients hate them. Their world around them thinks they're, well, I'm not going to use all the words that they think, but it's bad. It's bad. And they're miserable. And they've achieved all this great success, but they're in this place where they're miserable. And I have met people that are trucking along, right? And they're happy because they decide. And so when, as I've gone through some things, I've gone through some, massive poverty when I was a kid, and abuse as a child, and divorce, which was like Jerry Springer style divorce. I mean, it was Jerry Springer meets War of the Roses. If you saw the movie War of the Roses, I went through War of the Roses on crack times 10. I can't believe, sweet baby Jesus, did that just happen? Oh my Lord, right? Like, I woke up one day and I went, what kind of Twilight Zone am I living in? Did this just happen? And if I told you all the stories that went with it, you'd just be like, oh man. Anyway, and then I meet the man, this love of my life, this amazing man. And I think, wow, I'm in this place, right? Spend the rest of my life with him. He's 6'2", built like a brick house, good looking, sparkling blue eyes, everything I ever wanted, believes in me, believes in my dreams. And boom, one day he calls me and he says, baby, I can't walk. I don't know what's going on. And a few hours later, we find out he's head to toe to cancer. And a few hours after that, we're airlifted. And a few hours after that, we're 90 days living in a place 8 hours away from our hometown, fighting for his life. And he gave me the best gift I could ever be given. On Christmas Day of 2015, I was praying over him as a person of faith. Again, take a pill, not converting you. I'm just giving my story. I'm praying over him and I'm crying. I'm like, please, God, just heal him. Please, please, just. And I remember it like it's yesterday, guys. And I'm praying over him and I got big tears rolling down my face and I think he's asleep and he lifts my face in his hands. And he says, you know, baby, you keep praying for a miracle, but I already got my miracle the day that I got you. I found my faith. I have a family who loves me. I know where I'm going. And you were born to speak life. You were born to change the world. So don't you dare spend the next 5 years in a bottle. Don't you dare spend the next 5 years laying in your bed. You get up. You get up, and every day I need you to make a promise that you're going to live. I need you to promise me that you're going to live. You're going to really, really live. And a short time after that, you know, James passed, and he passed in my arms. And I made a promise to him that day that I was going to get up every day and I was going to come to speak to people like you, people that were in a place of either transition or looking for vision or looking for strategies that wanted to get up too. You want to get up. That's why you're here. You want to be lifted up. That's why you're here, right? The whole point of tuning in to lift is to lift your leadership, is to lift your level of influence, is to lift your level of opportunities. It's to lift one another up. That is why I'm here. That's why when Gail called and said, hey, could you be part of this with me? I'm like, yeah, baby, I love this. Let's lift them up. So it's a good day, it's a great day, or it's a growth day. And I choose. And there was days, I'm telling you, I honestly, I look back and I think I got up in the morning, and if I would not have done these daily strategies, if I had not have made a decision in advance before my feet hit the floor, I probably would have hit a bottle of vodka. Not kidding. Facing the world without him. Even now, I think one day I'll get to see him again, right? And this life is short, for me, eternity's long. So I have hope. I'm a hope warrior. I am a joy warrior. I am a love warrior. And I will storm the gates of that burning building, right? And bring you out. Because if you're in that place today, you have to make a decision. You must decide the day you get to have. And then you must decide what you will do to get to have that day. So every single day, that was a great question, Kristen, about, you know, what it is, the importance of pouring something into yourself, because when your soul is bleeding out and when you have the death of a dream or the death of a loved one or the death of a marriage or the death of something that you really, really wanted and you went, oh, I thought that was for me, and bad things happen to people. We don't get to tiptoe. Nobody gets out of this life unscathed. You don't just get to tiptoe through the daisies, you know, living the beaver cleaver life, right? Nobody. If I talked to each one of you on here today and I asked you to tell me your story, it would be filled with the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? It would be everyone in this room, everyone on this episode today, everyone here, everyone, no one, even the people that look like they got it all together, even when they look like their life is perfect, I guarantee you there's something going on or has gone on. So you're either just coming out of a storm, you're in a storm, or you're going into one, because that is what life is. And so we need to prepare. You can prepare your business. You can prepare your mind. You can prepare your environment. You can prepare your children. You can prepare your community. You can prepare. You can prepare or you can repair.
So that actually leads me into the other thing that we kind of wanted to talk about today, was the whole kind of future proofing your life and your business. And can you give some insights into that? And I think right now that's a very timely topic.
Yeah. So preparing or repairing, there's a few things that I would share with you. So if you want to future-proof your business, you got to make it bulletproof. So you got to be prepared in a couple of things. And so I've got a couple of and I'll figure out how I get those to you guys, but I've got some checklists, I've got some downloads for this on getting organized. The first step is, I mentor many, many business owners, many organizations, many groups where they come in and they say, give us the money and mindset mentorship, right? So the first step of that is we need to use what you got, and you got to find out what you got. The first thing is we need to get organized. Here's the checklist of all your stuff, everything from digital data to paperwork, right? Where is it at? Who's got what? And is it in one place where you think about, like, if your business was burning up and you could only go in and save a couple things, right? It's that save a couple things box. Where do you have them stored? Are you prepared for that? Do you know what that looks like? And so the Get Organized checklist has everything from personal organization to professional organization, your businesses. And so fireproofing your business, bulletproofing your business, future-proofing your business is about making sure that you're prepared, because you're either coming out of a storm, going into a storm, in a storm, or you're going into a storm. So in order to future-proof that, the first step is to make sure that you're fully organized so that you can mobilize when stuff hits the fan. And let me give you an example, because there's a lot of people during COVID. This is, if you're listening to this in a time capsule someplace, these are unprecedented times in the entire world. And what happened is the whole world got shook. It just got shook, absolutely shook. And it wasn't just the United States. It wasn't just China. It wasn't just the UK. It was the entire globe got shook, and it shut down the entire world. But it didn't actually. It was a turning point. It was a transition point for us as individuals. It was a transition point for us as a nation. It was the transition point for us as a world to say, now more than ever before, people have been given time to think. And I love this when I hear people say, I just want to go back. Really? You want to go back? I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to what I had. I don't want to go back to that. We keep, asking for what can we do for the future? What can we do to change? You're given an opportunity right now at this moment. Every moment that you got breath in your lungs, you get a new opportunity for a do-over. So you want to future-proof your business from crisis, from crazy, from stuff that happens. This is how you do it. You prepare in advance and you decide what things will I do in my particular line of business to future-proof that? And the first step is organization. The second step is to use what you've got. It's almost like building an army, right? You got to look at who's in my army, who's my human capital, who do I have around me that's good at these things? And I make a list of that. These are my centers of influence. These are the people that I look at and I go, you're good at this, you're good at this, you're good at this, and I can serve you and you can serve me, because it takes all of us, right? If you're going to do anything of significance in the world, it takes all of us. You can be successful by one, but significance takes many. Yes? Yes. So part of that conversation is get organized first and then look around for what do you have for resources. And then the third step is how do you mobilize them when the stuff hits the fan? And I call that everything from cash emergency funds to future thinking. Where am I going? I plan in decades. My dreams are done in decades. I don't plan just in quarters. I plan in decades. And I use the 3 Ds. Really, really simple strategy. Do I need to do it? Do I need to dump it, or do I need to delegate it? I've got a one-pager, by the way, on this. If you're interested, email me at marissa@marissanehlsen.com, or you can find it on my website. But it's the 8 questions you need to ask if you're a leader before you delegate. There's 8 questions. I would not give you anything on my team, and I run multiple companies today. I have a multi-million-dollar financial services organization that's a holistic organization. I'm also part of the EWC, which stands for the Empowered Women Community. So this is a group of worldwide, globetrotter women all over the world, all powerhouses, all coming together to build a community to help one another in their businesses, to help one with their personal growth. I have a speaking and coaching and training business. There's some things today that when you look at all the different areas that I'm running, it's do it, dump it, delegate it. And, Stephen Covey's got some great stuff on this. Let me save you some time, right? It's really simple. Match or not a match. Let me save you like 3 hours of reading a great book. Okay. It's a great book. So if you still want to read the Stephen Covey book, it's totally good. Like, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Or you can take your own 15-minute miracle, look at the 4 quadrants and say, do it, dump it, delegate it, and figure out, what do I need to get completely rid of in my life? So what do you get to do depends on what you choose that goes on there. So you want to bulletproof your business. You want to be forward thinking and future thinking in that. What do I have right now that I can use in my arsenal? And what do I have for the future? What am I building towards and for? How am I positioning my assets? How am I positioning my people? How am I positioning my profits? How am I positioning my process? How am I positioning my purpose? There's a teaching that I do called the 5 critical P's. And for sake of time today, we can't do it today, but I do a couple times a year, I do a free webinar on this. Just pop on. It's, simple. But the 5 critical P's are, how do you position each one of those 5 P's so you've got success in your business? And, when you start talking about your business build and how to future-proof your business, that started yesterday. It started yesterday. So you got to get organized. You got to clean out the clutter of the stuff that shouldn't be in your day. That's do it, dump it, delegate it. You have to be forward thinking, forward focused. And my decade to dreams, my dreams to decades. This is about, how do I crush it every quarter? I crush it every quarter because I know in 10 years where I want to be. And I'm working backwards from 10 years to 5 years to 3 years to 1 year to this quarter to this week to today, because today matters. I don't know if I'll get 10 years. I don't know. James didn't know. James was a young man when he passed. So every day that I get today, I look at as a gift, and I think, man, I get to do this day. So that making a decision in the front end of your business, no matter what the strife is that's happening, I do truly believe there's always a way if you're committed. I believe there's always a way if you're committed. So
Marissa,
I don't know if that was helpful.
We are almost out of time today. So you mentioned several different things. So if anybody either on this or on Facebook wants more information, probably the easiest way, let's have them reach out to info@lift-leadership.com. Marissa and you and I will make sure that they get hooked up with you, and I can forward them to you, because you had a lot of things on your website, and Marissa and I text back and forth, so we talk on a regular basis.
Yes, we
so
do.
We will get you what you need. Marissa, I use you personally. My children use your company personally for our finances. You are part of my tribe, so I'm so pleased to have you here. And I think that as we're going through this unprecedented times, you talked about how we're so shaken right now, and things are so unstable and they're so shaken. And I just really want to encourage everybody on this call that we may feel shaken, but it's our time to shift. There are good, better, bigger days ahead for us. And, we're shaken, but it's our shift time that we really need to focus on, and as we move forward. And I think that's true in everything, in our businesses, our finances, our personal lives, our spiritual lives, our emotional lives, just everything. It's the time to shift. There's no better time than right now. We'll have no more time available to us to be able to accomplish the dreams that we want to than right now in this pandemic. We won't ever have this amount of time to do it. So I encourage everybody on the call to do that. Marissa, any last words?
Well, transitions, turning points in your life are always transition opportunities to take it to the next level. And so I would leave you with the words of the smartest snowman I know. And I don't know if you've seen this movie or not. If you have not, I'm sorry in advance. If you have seen the movie, you're going to love it too. And that is Olaf from Frozen 2. If you got kids or grandkids, Olaf from Frozen 2, smartest snowman ever. And here's what he says: just take the next best step forward. Just take the next right step forward. So as he's speaking into the princess, he says, you know, I know that you have to do this journey alone. I know that it's scary. I know that you don't want to do it, but I love you and I believe in you. So just take the next best step forward for your business, for your personal and professional life. We are shaken, but we are not, we're not dead coming out of that shaking. It's an opportunity to shake up what we want for our world and really evaluate. And so just take the next best step forward for you. And there's so many resources out there. I want to speak life into you, that you matter. If you listened to this today, you matter. And you know, if you, I do a podcast every week called Live Life Rich. You can find it kind of everywhere. But if you like the messaging today, I want to pour that into you. Words of life, words of affirmation, strategies to help you move forward. And as Gail said, we are friends. She's one of the few that actually has my personal cell phone number. It's kind of like the bat phone. So there's only a few people on the planet that get my personal cell phone. And Gail Rudolph has the personal cell phone. So I will tell you, she ain't going to give it out, by the way. At least I hope not, Gail. But yeah. So thanks for having me, guys. I just had a ball with you today. I hope that I added value to you and your business. And I hope that as you move forward, you know that there's a reason you woke up above ground today, and you get to live the life that you have. You get to create the one that you want. And you get to play this out for as long as you're on this planet. Take the next best step forward.
Thank you so much, Marissa Nehlsen. We are so glad to have you here. Everybody, please have a blessed weekend, a blessed next week, and we hope to see you next week on Learn with Lift. Thank you.